Oh, how are you doing today? Welcome to the next series of the Empower Series podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to tell you that I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about today. There's a book that I read a long time ago called The Go Giver, and I'm going to spend most of our program talking about the 5 laws that's in this book that talks about the Go Giver. However, before I do that, this is the Empower Series podcast. You know how I always start. There's somebody in your circle that can benefit from hearing about what we're going to talk about today. There are 2 other podcasts that the Empower Series has been a guest on. I'm going to share that with you. And then we're going to talk about the 5 laws of success that is in this book called The Go Giver. But I also want to give you some heads up because we're going to talk about some sensitive topics in the very beginning, because I talked on a podcast that was a nonprofit that provided resources and support to women and men who are escaping domestic violence situations. So these topics are kind of sensitive. And if these are going to be some trigger topics to you, I'm just giving you a heads up so that you can take some time to maybe pause the tape, take a break, and then come back around 5 or 10 minutes later. So again, just want to be aware of that. And also let you know that if anyone is in a domestic violence situation, there is resources for you. So there's a national domestic violence hotline that is available 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to provide confidential support. You can call them by calling 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-SAFE, spelled SAFE, and that is 7233. Or you can text START to 88788. Again, there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline for you. There's resources out there, but I wanted to give you a heads up that we're going to talk about that only because one of the programs that I was on was supporting a nonprofit organization in providing resources, financial resources for women or people who are coming out of domestic violence situations. So give you a warning, you can pause. But the second thing we're going to talk about is really exciting. That's the majority of our program. It's going to be about the book, The Go Giver, and I'll talk to you more about that. But I want you to mark your calendars. So today, as well as Wednesday, the Empower Series, again, is going to be a guest speaker on a program entitled Empower Her. It's Rebuilding Financial Foundations After Abuse. So I was honored to be a guest on the show called Gab with Gold and Bronze, and their podcast is going to air not only today at 7 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, but it's also going to air on 200 radio stations, the VGN app in 191 countries, and the Golden Swan Cadre Facebook page is going to be there as well, and it's going to focus primarily on providing support and education, empowering survivors of domestic violence. That's what the nonprofit is about. Their mission is to create a safe haven for healing and thriving individuals, and that's really deeply important to me, not only with the Empower Series, but in everything that I do. So mark your calendars. That's today as well as Wednesday. Support the organization. The name of the organization, again, is Golden Swan Cadre, but on YouTube, it's actually Gab with Gold and Bronze. Check them out. Now, that's one. The second thing I was a part of, the Empower Series was a part of, is really another step of just us increasing our awareness. I was honored to be interviewed, or the Empower Series to be interviewed and showcased on 2 programs. One is called Getting Your Money Right, and it's hosted by Dr. Ben Franklin Chavis. And Dr. Ben Franklin Chavis is an icon when it comes to civil rights. You may know of him already. He was part of the Wilmington 10, if you know about our history. But I was interviewed back in April, and it's going to air this Friday on June 21st at 10:30 p.m. And it's also going to air sometime in the fall, but I'll tell you more about that. But the series is going to be featured on Bloomberg TV. It's called How to Get Your Money Right. It's hosted by the legendary civil rights icon, Dr. Ben Franklin Chavis Jr. And as you may know, he's unwavering in his dedication for justice and equality from his youth as a leader of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his current role as For the past 10 years, he's been the president and the CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, and he is constantly fighting for a better future. So mark your calendars. It's going to be Friday, June 21st at 10:30 p.m. And if you miss it, it's going to be on his website, and I'll get that back to you as well. So those are two things you need to mark your calendar on. But today, we're also going to talk about this book. Have you guys ever read a book before a long time ago, and then you picked it up and you read it again, and you got some just more nuggets out of it? That's what this is. This book is called The Go-Giver, A Little Story About a Powerful Business Idea by Bob Burg and John Davis Mann. In the book, it's a little story or parable, but the premise or the principles of the book, it talks about 5 laws of success. And if you apply these 5 laws in your life, you will have unbelievable success. So I want to talk about each one of the laws, give you an example of them, and then talk about how we can apply them in our lives. So the first law is called the law of value. And there's 5 of them. Law of value. What it reads is your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. So did you hear me there? Let me kind of repeat this. So your true value, your true worth is not defined by what you take, but it's defined by what you give. So focus on providing exceptional value to others, and you'll see your own value rise in return. So what does that look like? A lot of times people are talking about, I want to get my value, but how do you get that? So in a business professional setting, another way of looking at this is don't just try to close deals and focus on making the money. Really focus on understanding your client, their needs, and offering solutions to genuinely benefit them. Go the extra mile by providing follow-up and support and valuable resources. As a teacher, it's like being very innovative with your class, show your passion, stimulate the learning environment by going beyond just memorizing things to be tested on. Share your passion with them, support and help students connect to the material that they own. As a community leader, like with the Empower Series, an example of the Empower Series is that we give free workshops. So we are giving value, and it's not at a cost to the people to attend. And by us giving value, that is defining our true worth. So that's an example of giving value. What's an action that you can apply to see how that applies to your life? You can identify ways for you to add value in your current role, in your business, and maybe even developing a free resource to offer someone. So I'm looking at what I did today at my job, adding value. There was a person who called in today kind of upset because she had called in and spoke to somebody else, and they did not respond timely enough to her. They said they were going to email her something, and she didn't get the email within an hour or so. So she called, I picked up the phone, and she was upset at me. And so I told her, hey, just chill. You're going to get exactly what you asked for before we say goodbye to each other. And I helped her. And my focus was not really responding to her heat on me, her anger, but just really giving her value and giving her an experience. So after I satisfied what she called for, I told her, hey, so I apologize for you not reaching me first. So again, I would say identify how you can add value, because the number one rule here is the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much you give in value and not how much you take in payment. So it's a switch on that. Here's some quotes that kind of makes the point. So it never hurts to be kind to people. Golden rule. Everyone likes to be appreciated. People will do business with and refer business to those people they know, they like, and they trust. An example could be a great restaurant. A great restaurant is really defined by a team that is imaginative. They want to make sure that their goal is to provide more in value, a higher quality of a fine dining experience, and a higher quality of service than the amount of money that someone could ever pay for. So when you look at your value, and I tell people this when they talk about, how much they work and are they getting paid their value. I tell my boss that you will never be able to pay for the value that I give you. So yeah, we can talk about my salary, but the value that I'm giving you is going to be much more than your budget can ever entail. That's how much value I want to give. And then when you have that kind of perspective, then you can definitely get your value and name your price, because people who are receiving exceptional value will pay more. So again, I want to just back up a little bit and give you the first rule. It's like value, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you receive in payment. Rule number one, right? So rule number two, law of compensation. Dennis Kimbro always used to say that compensation is equal to the amount of service you provide, the quality of service you provide, and the attitude of which you deliver it. That's your compensation. So this law is very similar to that. This law says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. You hear me on this? The law states that your income is directly tied to the number of people you serve and the quality of service you provide. By focusing on helping others, you build strong relationships and attract opportunities. So what does that look like if you're like a freelancer? So a freelancer may go above and beyond in not undercharging for their services, but really focusing on delivering exceptional work. Again, exceptional work to as many people as possible, exceeding your client's expectations. This leads to more referral and more repeat business. And then if you're a customer service, go above and beyond like I did earlier. Go above and beyond to solve customers' issues promptly and efficiently. Happy customers will likely return and recommend your business to their friends. And then also, if you're a bartender, remember that you're working for tips, right? Your regular favorite drink, your regular favorite drink, if you go to a bar and your bartender remembers that, that's going to give you, you're going to feel special. So again, those are the little things. Be friendly, be attentive to service, and some of the actions you can take is really sit back and look at what can I do to really add more value, to show more value to my clients and serve more people to increase my compensation, as opposed to just thinking what I'm giving right now is worth more money and give me more money. Some of the things you can do is evaluate, like I said, what you're doing, how you're delivering to your clients, and what's their experience like. Some of the quotes is that give, give, give. And why should you give, give, give? It's because you love what you do. It's not a strategy, it's just a way of life. So give, 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 because you love what you do. You would do it if you didn't get paid, and you will get rewarded for that. That's the fifth strategy. That's the fifth law, but I'll get back to you on that. Another quote that I like from the book was, find ways to serve more people. So if you right now are wanting more money and you're providing service and you feel like you're providing exceptional service, then let's brainstorm and think about, how can I service more people? When I look at the Empower series and I want the Empower series to grow, one of the ways that we make money is by donations and making an impact in people's lives. So I am looking for always ways of, how do I expand the reach? How do I help more people? And as I help more people, I can qualify for more grants. More people will be aware of the Empower series and what we do, and maybe they will give more donations. Another thing is, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Dr. Martin Luther King says that our ability to serve is endless. So everybody can be great. There's another way of saying that is, everybody can be successful because everybody can give. So if you give first, you will get in return. And we'll talk more about how that works, the give and take of that. So third law, the law of influence. This is the one that I like the most. The law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Did you hear me with that? So wait, putting other people's interests first? Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, if I'm a giver, I'm a giver. It's like people are just taking. So let's step back. I love this law. Your influence is determined by how abundantly You place other people's interests first. So true influence comes from genuine care and support for others. When you prioritize their interests, you build trust and inspire them to follow your lead. So as a manager, how do you do that? You really give your employees the tools and the resources to really empower themselves. So you support them, you have their back, you allow them and give them opportunities to grow. You don't second guess them. You give them leadership opportunities, you give them productive, positive feedback, and you allow them to learn through their own effort. As a parent, and this is where I look at even my shortcomings, is that did I always provide the experience of unconditional love? When I gave feedback, was it really feedback that was enriching and inspiring, or was it more taken as a critic or being critical? But as a parent, offer unconditional love, support to your children, be a role model of positive behavior, and encourage them to pursue their dreams. So really, as kids, they will do more of following what you do as opposed to listening to what you say, right? And then as a friend, be a good listener. Offer help when needed, celebrate your friends' successes, even stranger successes, and be there for them during tough times. So what are the action items that we can do to really think, how can we apply this? We can identify someone that we admire and that has a great influence on us, and just look at their traits and think, okay, why do they inspire me? Why do I look up to them? And then model some of their traits. One of the things that they said about this particular law that I liked is that the whole idea of networking in people. If you're in a sales position, you're always wanting to get referrals. And you might have a referral relationship with another professional where they give you referrals and you give them referrals, and it's like a win-win situation. The idea of this book is kind of bust that theory. If you're putting someone else's interest before yours, it's not a 50-50 or win-win scenario. It says that when you network with people who know you, they like you, and they trust you, they will, they may never do business with you, but they are personally invested in your success and seeing you succeed. So they can be your army of personal ambassadors. And I like that idea. And so if you are truly putting other people first, most people are feeling like if you're doing something for them, somehow they got to pay you back. But if you really do something for them and the give is complete after you give, imagine that. Imagine the kind of experience that you're giving these people that are normally in a situation where everybody has an agenda. If you want to build a network of personal ambassadors that want you to succeed, imagine what it's like to give people that experience that, hey, you know what? I'm not focused on what I'm trying to get from you. I just want you to succeed. I'm going to give this to you. And if you build that kind of network of people around you that like you, trust you, and you know that, and they know that you are always in it for them, wanting them to succeed, you will always get back their unconditional support. They'll be you will be on their mind when they're meeting with some people, and for some reason, the connection between you and them will be beneficial. They will be your ambassadors. They will be out marketing for you. So I love this law, the law of influence. How do you build a personal walking group of army of ambassadors that just wants you to succeed? The fourth law is the law of authenticity. Now, your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. So, wait a second. Did I just repeat that one? Hold on. Yeah, I did. Hold on for a second. The law of authenticity says, oh yeah, here it is. So scratch that. The law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. So what does that mean? What you bring to the table, you, is it. That's the most valuable thing. Um, be genuine, embrace your unique talents, and connect with others on a real level. So you can tell when people are just not real, right? They're not being authentic. A lot of times we feel like we gotta be someone, we gotta behave in a way that's acceptable. Or if we see somebody that's really good, we think, oh man, I wish I can speak like them. I wish I can, dress like them. I wish I can do things like them. It's like you have a unique talent. The way you talk, the way you communicate connects with a certain group of people. That's just for you. And it may not be perfect. Just like I made a little mistake here about repeating the law of influence for the law of authenticity. So it's just who I am. It may not resonate with you. Some of you might say, hey, I'm going to look at another podcast, but I'm being authentic with you. Sometimes that's not correct. And just be yourself, because yourself is good enough. So as an artist, don't try to mimic or imitate other artists. Create your own work of art, create your own style, develop your own unique voice and perspective that resonates with your audience. As a speaker, inject your personality and your passion into your presentation. Speak from your heart and connect with your audience on a very deep emotional level. If you're a salesperson, don't just follow a script. Be yourself, be authentic about the product and service that you represent, and build a genuine rapport. So what can you do to apply this in your life? I would say explore ways to express your true self more authentically in your interactions and at work. I'll give you an example. When I first was a financial advisor, I started working with Ameriprise. And Ameriprise had a script for the first initial meeting with a client. And believe me, we had to memorize that script word for word. And we would train word for word. We would have competition about who would get the script to the T, to the word correctly. But what was interesting is that was good for a basic training, but afterwards, what they taught us is that we had to now, once we knew what the words were, we had to now make it ourselves. We had to deliver that in our own personality and our own style, because people can tell when you just reading the script, right? So I resonated with this because we all have a unique style. We all have a unique way of talking. We all have a unique gift and a unique message that we've been given that only people that is out there at that same level can resonate with. So there are people out there that will only be able to connect with your message, with your voice and the way you deliver it. So be authentic. You are good enough. You are the most valuable resource out there, yourself. Be yourself, be authentic, and that's what this rule is. So that was rule number 4. Now, rule number 5, and we'll come back and summarize all of this and put it all together. And I'll tell you why I'm going through this so fast. The law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. So the law of receptivity, to be receptive of people giving to you. So giving is just one part of the equation. Receiving, being open to receiving from others, allows the cycle of abundance to flow. This includes accepting help, gratitude, and unexpected opportunities. So as a job seeker, don't be afraid to ask for help with your job search. Reach out to your network, be informal, or reach out for informal interviews, reach out for recommendations, ask for it, be open to opportunities that may not even have may not be part of your original plan. If you're an entrepreneur, when launching a new business, be open to feedback and advice from mentors and from advisors. Be receptive to new ideas and willing to adapt your approach based on market conditions. Person in need. If you're struggling financially, don't be ashamed to accept help from friends or family members. So there's a difference, right? There are some friends or family members that are always asking for money. That's a different experience. What I'm saying is that if you've ever known anyone who's always helping, they're always giving, and then there's an opportunity for them to be helped, but then they have a hard time asking. That's what I'm talking about. People who are givers sometimes are not good receivers. And Law 5 says the law of receptivity, be open to giving, because that's the full flow. If you're always giving and you're not allowing people to give back to you, then you're creating a bottleneck, basically, right? So people in need who are struggling, be open and not ashamed to accept help from friends or family members. Be grateful for their support and focus on getting back on your feet. So an action item that you can do is really practice gratitude for the good things in your life, both big and small. Be open to receiving compliments and help and unexpected opportunities. I say this because there are some times where you walk up to somebody and say, hey, you really look nice today, or no, that's a nice outfit, whatever it is. And they're like, not, all they got to do is just say thank you, but they just can't get thank you out. They got to say, oh yeah, but I need to lose weight, or, I'm not feeling that good. It's like, I just gave you a compliment, receive that compliment. And so I went through the laws very quickly, but I'm going to go back through them because it's important for you to really get the fact that, and see how this applies to your life. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have found myself in a situation where the Empower Series is always giving. I always want to be the value add in a person's experience. So whether you come to a workshop or whether you meet me in person, I want to get to know you, not so much because of what I feel like you can do for me, but how can I be an added value for you? A good example is we just had a workshop the other day on home buying. And I always ask people to stay connected to resources to help them take their next step. And there's a few people who wanted some additional resources. One is connecting them to SCORE or some resource partners for the SBA. Also connecting them to a mentor, connecting them to some classes, connecting them to some contractors who can help them with their building, connecting them with some scholarships and grants. So I had a list of these things that I wanted to do, and I'm in the process of connecting these people and helping. So I'm giving value. I'm always giving. And there are times where there was an opportunity that was presented to me which could help the Empower Series increase its reach. And my first response was, ooh, no. And I wasn't really practicing the law of receptivity. And so because I personally had this experience and I ran across this book again, I wanted to make this podcast about that. The book itself is a cool little book. It's a little story about a business idea that's big. These 5 principles are introduced by showing a person who was out there as a go-getter, right? So the title of the book is a play on the go-getter. It's called the go-giver. So this go-getter was in the process of trying to meet a sales goal, and he was having a hard time, and the deadline was coming up. And so he was told to talk to this person who connected him to a mentor. And this mentor introduced him to 5 different people. And the 5 people that he introduced him to were very successful, and they all practiced one of these 5 principles. And that led to their success. And the guy that connected him to the mentor was one of the guys in the office who was a salesperson that didn't really seem like he did a lot of work, but he was very, very successful. And he didn't understand how this guy, had a corner office, didn't seem like he was sweating and trying to go get it, but he was just very successful. And what he was a connector. He connected people with each other, and he practiced these 5 principles that led to his success. And he was working not because he had to work, but because he loved what he did. So these 5 laws are actually called the 5 laws of, let's see, I want to get the word right. It was really called the 5 laws of stratospheric success. So it's the 5 laws of stratospheric success. Imagine that. If you want success in your life, you practice these 5 laws, and your success will be hard to measure. So I'm going to repeat them again, summarize them, and I want you to think about each one of these laws and how you can apply them in your life. And I'll just summarize them with the recap of how I'm applying them in my life. So the first law that we talked about was the law of value. Your true value is determined by how much you give in value than what you take in payment. So just how can I give value? How can I always give value to, with me, the Empower Series is my thing. So how can I always give you value? What can I give you value in the different areas of goal setting or financial literacy or physical fitness or mindset growth? What are the different ways I can do that? By having speakers come in, by giving you resources to connect with. For scholarships, for example, I'm looking at ways of giving you a monthly newsletter on different scholarship opportunities. Since physical fitness is coming up, I'm working with a personal trainer to not only have a event in July, but how do I keep you connected with this resource throughout the year so you can achieve your goal? How can I package that in a way that's valuable? Not looking at the amount I'm taking in payment, but just giving you value. And at some point, once I measure the results and the impact of that, I can use now the impact of that as a way of identifying to grantors the impact that I'm doing what I'm doing, and then that way we can get more grants to give you even more value. So again, the law of value, your true worth is determined by how much you give in value, more by how much you give in value than how much you take in payments. The second law is the law of compensation. The income, your income, is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So if I want to make more compensation, I've got to be creative. I've got to meditate and think of a way of how do I provide more service to more people, and do that in a way that is of highest quality and with the right attitude, right? And just focus on that. Be imaginative about it. So one way we do that here is through social media. We have a global reach now. So I can market now to different market areas using social media resources. I'm keeping all of the recordings online. I'm on more than one podcast, not just my own, but I'm invited to other podcasts so I can get a broader reach. I'm also looking at doing some type of program on different channels as well. So the law of compensation, my income is determined, your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So how can you increase the number of people that you serve? How can you increase the quality and the experience that they're having? The third law, this is the law that I like again, is the law of influence. So the law of influence says basically your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. So this is just the book's idea. So some of you may be thinking, I'm always giving, I'm not getting anything back. The fifth law addresses that. But the first thing is, what am I giving? And I say giving is complete after the give. It's not like I'm giving and then I want to wait and get something back. Give first and the universe will give you back. You just got to be open to receiving it. So I like this idea because I really do believe that people are not having the experience of people just wanting to help them with no hidden agenda. Everybody, when you scratch my back, I scratch your back. You give somebody the experience that you really want them to succeed just because you want them to succeed, because you like them, you trust them, and you feel like they have a purpose in life that's bigger than, them getting you back or paying you back. It's like you want to encourage them to fulfill their purpose, and you give, and that's it. And they pay it forward. They don't need to pay you back, they pay it forward. You will create a group of people that will truly have your interest at heart, and they will want to see you succeed. And if there's any opportunity for them to be a resource to you, they will. So the law of influence, your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests above yours. And then the law of authenticity. The law of authenticity, the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. So imagine just going to a birthday party and not having to bring a present, right? Hey, I am the present. Me being here is your present. That's real. Sometimes people just don't value themselves. So bringing yourself, your authentic self, is the true value. You believing in yourself and realizing that your message and the way you come across, the way you speak, is resonating with your tribe of people. My daughter has a tribe of people in Denton, the Spiderweb Cafe. They are very unique with their creative way of doing poetry, music, and other things, and she resonates with them. And that is her tribe. Everybody has a tribe. What is your tribe? And realize that your authenticity is all that's required. It's good enough. You are the present. You are the greatest miracle. And then the last rule, or the law number 5, is the law of receptivity. And that is being open to receiving gifts. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. So if you want the ability to give abundantly, then you've got to be open to receive. Because if you feel like your purpose is to be a blessing to other people, imagine if people were not willing to accept your blessing. That is the continuous flow. So if you are a giver, you've got to be a receiver, because that continues to flow. But you got to get it right. Giving comes first, and your focus is only on giving. You don't need to worry about the give back, because it's going to come. You just need to be open when it does come, right? Because it's coming. So those are the 5 laws of stratospheric success. And it's part of the book, again, that's called The Go Giver. A little story about a powerful business idea by Bob Burg and John David Mann. I might share more books with you in other podcasts, but this really spoke to me, given what I was dealing with this past week, me being on another person's podcast, and then me being a recipient of being asked to speak on a much broader platform with how to get your money right on Bloomberg TV, and another show that's going to be on PBS. So I thought I would share that with you. If this has been beneficial for you, or some of these ideas has resonated with you, I would ask you to provide a comment, like, and share. I'm looking at the live stream now, and if you want to send an email and don't want to make a post, then I would suggest that you just go ahead and email me at thrive@empowerseries.com. And that email comes directly to me, and you can ask, share your comments, share your thoughts, and if there's anything I can do to be a resource to you, any value that I can give, or any organization or connection I can make to you, don't hesitate to ask. Right? So I hope this program has been good for you, been valuable for you. I would say remember to mark your calendars for June 21st at 10:30 p.m. for the Empower Series being hosted on how to get your money right. And also for look on YouTube and look on Facebook on Gab with Golden Swan, so that you can hear about some steps you can take financially as well as mentally to recover from an abusive relationship. That's going to air not only today, but it's going to air on Wednesday as well on a number of different radio stations. So I want to thank you for taking the time and investing that here with the Empower Series. Hopefully this has been very valuable for you. Please don't hesitate to share this with anybody else. If you have any questions, email me at thrive@empowerseries.com. Next month, in July, we're going to talk about physical fitness and do a walking project. So stay connected with us on our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn. You're definitely on YouTube now, so stay connected with us there. And until we meet again, I want you to be empowered and inspired to thrive. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.